Ladies and gents, welcome back. The news media needs your attention, and the best way to get your attention is to keep you afraid. And what will keep you afraid? Well, of course, the biggest cash cow of the past 2 years, the virus. Seemingly a April Fool's joke here from the CBC. For the second straight day, Ottawa sets new high in coronavirus wastewater signal. Now we're paying attention to the wastewater signal because that's the biggest thing. It's the biggest spike you'll see out there. Ottawa wastewater sets another record and levels rise in Leeds, Grenville, Lanark. Here's the bullet points for this article so you can get through it quickly. Ottawa record high wastewater average rises further. City hospitalizations for active COVID remain stable. We'll get to that in a minute. I love how they bury the lead like this. In Ottawa, an Ottawa resident in their 80s who had COVID has died. This is unfortunate, but believe that this may be irrelevant for someone of that age group. Wastewater signals are rising across Leeds, Grenville, Lanark. The average level of coronavirus detected in Ottawa's wastewater has reached another record high with the latest update in the bold red line in the graph below. Of course, there's one big bold red line in the graph below. It's 5 times higher than it was early March and higher than waste waves last spring and this past winter. Look at that. Huge. What other information do we have about this? Wednesday, we also saw the second highest day record of wastewater signal in Ottawa. These records don't reflect the first wave of the pandemic when wastewater was not being monitored for traces of the virus. So, the big spike over here we don't see because, well, we just didn't pay attention to that at the time. 10 Ottawa residents are in hospitals being treated for COVID-19, ladies and gentlemen. 10 people in the greater Ottawa area are in hospital being treated for COVID-19 and COVID-19 related symptoms, according to the Friday OPH update, with none in intensive care. Hospitalizations remain stable through March, they say. So this is the stability of hospitalizations. Now, let's not forget the entire pandemic started with the 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and that was the idea of needing to slow down the spread so that we don't overdo the hospitals by having too many people entering the intensive care and having it overflowing. That would prove to not be the case with viral load as it is, and so few people going to hospital. Most people would declare that this is over. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Let's go all the way across the country to Manitoba, where for one Winnipeg family, the end of COVID restrictions led to a household full of COVID. Most of the Arseny family has contracted COVID since the restrictions ceased. No. For the first 2 years of the pandemic, Winnipeg Arseny family did everything they could to avoid catching COVID. They washed their hands. They wore masks indoors when they went to public places. They avoided large gatherings when it wasn't allowed. They followed the rules. Manitoba started easing up restrictions. The Arsenys figured it was time to relax a little. We just decided if the province says it's okay, we're going to go start loosening up a little bit. Lindsay Arseny, the only member of her family who did not contract COVID-19 over the past month. Her daughter Marley and son Quentin both tested positive using rapid antigen tests, developed symptoms, and are now out of quarantine. Her husband Nicholas got very sick and remains extremely weak as he recovers from his what is now the common cold. Lindsay says she believes the province acted too quickly in eliminating its restrictions, particularly easing to follow rules such as wearing masks in indoor public places. Not enough businesses have gone under Everybody's saying we have to get back to living our lives and we have to learn to live with COVID, she said in a Zoom interview on Thursday. She would not appear in person for this interview. It's just too dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. But I think it was a little bit early. I think more businesses need to go under. There has not been enough restrictions. It's only been 2 years. Only 2 years. People will assume, well, the government says it's okay, so COVID's pretty much gone. That's not what anyone says. I'm sorry. I'm breaking character here. And it's very much gone, but because as soon as they loosen up, we've been good for 2 years. And all of a sudden, we have a household full of COVID. Well, nobody has been saying that you're not going to get it. In fact, CDC director, COVID vaccines can't prevent transmission anymore. This is the case. We have here Fauci, just about everybody will catch Omicron variant. Vaccinated people fare better, he claims. This is, if per Fauci, everyone will get Omicron, then can we abolish our restrictions? And the answer to that is an astounding yes across the world. And yeah, of course, the news is going to run stories where people are afraid. People are afraid to move on and live life amongst a virus that is presenting as a common cold. That's all I had for you for this one, ladies and gents. Tune into the next video. We'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.